Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Reata Horsemanship family. I'm excited to be with you here tonight. And we're starting an hour later tonight. I hope that's okay. Hopefully we've got some of you to be able to participate in this. In general, we're going to keep the sessions, the Q&A sessions on Wednesdays at 5:30 Arizona time for right now, right? Yeah. But we just had a little change in schedule, so had to go an hour later. I hope you guys are doing well, and I'm excited to be with you here today. And a couple of housekeeping announcements. First of all, book club. Remember that we're doing a book every month in the Reata Horsemanship membership. So if you're a member of Reata Horsemanship or if you're considering being a member of Reata Horsemanship, make sure to go and join our book club. And we have a book club every fourth Monday of every month. And this month it is Start With Why by Simon Sinek. So that's Start With Why by Simon Sinek. That's the book, Start With Why. And I'm excited to be reading that. I've read it a couple times. It's a really good book that will teach you about finding your purpose in life and really finding your purpose in whatever you're doing. If you're trying to build a better family, what's your purpose? And if you can keep that purpose in mind, and if your purpose is strong enough, if your why is strong enough, then you can overcome anything. You can literally overcome anything and have success by failing forward, not quitting, staying consistent, and knowing your purpose. So remember to read that book and then join us for our book club. It's probably going to be 5:30 in the afternoon Arizona time on Monday, the fourth Monday of this month, which is the 25th of March. Second, our clinic is coming up. It's the Horsemanship Clinic. It's the Problem Solving Clinic. So it's slightly different than the other clinics we've been doing, in that we're going to have a few less people and we're going to be focused specifically on problems that your horse is having. We're still going to utilize quite a few of the exercises and some of the obstacles probably that we still have from our obstacle course in the obstacles clinic. That they're still up, and we're going to probably utilize some of those and help you with any issues your horse is having. And so it's a little bit more focused. This clinic's a little bit more focused on what your horse needs exactly in this moment or in those days. So March 16th and 17th, we do have 2 spots available. That's all the spots we have available is 2 more. So anybody interested in participating in that clinic, make sure you jump on it and contact Stacy at 480-888-5030 to get booked for that clinic so you can come, and it will be life-changing. We have a money-back guarantee. If you don't feel like you got your money's worth, we'll give your money back. That's our guarantee. And Stacy kind of cringes when I give that guarantee, but it really, I've never found somebody that wanted their money back, honestly. And if you do, then that's fine. But people come to the clinic and they find so much value out of the clinic, out of learning from the other horses that are in the clinic and other people in the clinic, and also learning about their own horse and their own horsemanship skills. And it's going to be a wonderful clinic. So 2 spots available, March 16th and 17th. Book them now.
Yep, and you're also welcome to come spectate.
Yes, and you're welcome to come spectate. If you don't have a horse, and if you don't want to have a horse and you want to participate, we have a horse available for you that you can utilize. If you don't have a horse and don't want to participate, but you want to come and just hang out with us and chat and learn, you can do that for free. So we don't charge for spectators at this point in our business. We just want people to come and enjoy the session and enjoy the clinic and enjoy being with the other people. And lastly, our lifetime membership that's fast approaching the deadline for the lifetime membership of $247. That is March 17th. So St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day is the last day you have an opportunity to get the lifetime membership for $247. Right now, the membership is $390 for a year if you buy the year membership. So obviously you'd want to do the lifetime membership, but I'm just telling you how good of a deal that is. To get the lifetime membership, you never have to pay anything again, and you get access to all our Q&A Wednesdays, any of the new material that we put up. We have a trail course that's coming out, and I just have a couple videos left, and we're going to have that trail course ready, and we're going to start promoting it. If you're a member of Reata Horsemanship, you get to have that course as part of your membership, along with all the other courses and training videos in our membership. So March 17th, I get it today. Don't wait too long. You'll forget. And March 18th, that will no longer be available. And most likely, we're talking about probably a $997 lifetime membership after that, something like that, at least. So $247 is all it is to become a member for life. So I'm excited to answer some of your questions today, guys.
Okay. So our first question is from Deb.
Okay.
And she said, one challenge I'm having is sometimes following the horses ahead too closely. I don't want to create a problem for the horse and rider ahead of me. With only one or two other horses, With only one or two other horses, he is a horse length back. So I can see the trail, and so he can see. In a large group of 8 or 9 horses, he starts crowding. I move him to 2 or 3 in line, and he's pretty good on a single track. But when the horses open up and people start to ride side by side, like a calvary column, he gets a little elevated. He likes to pass the other horses ahead. I just keep riding him in vertical flexion, and he would drop back a few steps. But then he wants to catch up. I'd like to stay out of his mouth, but I'd also like to practice good trail etiquette, so I'm welcome back. How do you train a horse to maintain that space on the trail?
Deb, thank you for asking that, and that is probably one of the most challenging questions to answer, and one of the most common problems that people have out on the trail is a horse that crowds other horses too much. And your horse, it sounds like, I've worked with him a little bit, and you've had a lot of success lately with him, and I'm glad you're moving on to other problems that he's having. That shows a lot of progress, and as you refine your horsemanship, you'll start to nitpick other things. Now, this isn't a nitpicky issue. It definitely is something that's of concern if you get too close to another horse. People don't like that. Horses get kicked. People get kicked. And so that trail etiquette of allowing some space between you and the horse in front of you, so that number one, you don't crowd their space and get the horse and the rider upset in front of you. And number two, so you can, like you said, you can see the trail in front of you. That's pretty important. So it's also important to give some space in case something goes wrong. A horse in front gets upset, or somebody gets in an accident. You want to have a little bit of space so that you can get off or change directions or veer off the trail or what have you. So this is an issue. We've talked about this for a while now, and I think as the Reata Horsemanship family grows and as our membership grows, I think we're going to start having groups that kind of form on their own, groups that are the Reata Horsemanship method believers. Believers in the method that we utilize, believers in how it can help you and your horse. And so first and foremost, if eventually you can get with other people, so you say with 2 or 3 other riders, he's fine, but you get more riders than that, he starts to get uptight. And that's very natural. The more horses there are, the higher the energy that is felt but between the horses, and the harder it is to keep them all calm. So that's a problem that's very common. So if you can work with a number of other people who don't want to just trail ride to trail ride, they want to trail ride for success. Maybe that's what we should call the course, trail riding for success, something like that. But it really is the preparation for the trail is what the course is about. But if you can get together a group of people that like to work on their horsemanship out on the trail, then you can do a few things. You can start in an arena. You can find an arena, rent an arena, or just find one that one of the members has, and you can bring your horses together and teach your horses to be able to tolerate higher energy, higher movements between the horses while they're all together. So, for example, all loping the same direction. If you can get all your horses loping on a loose rein in the same direction, then you're going to have a horse that is much more capable of handling being on the trail with a number of other horses. So work on it in the arena if you can, if at all possible. And then when you get out on the trail, make sure to work. You can work on that on the trail as long as there is space to work on it. And one of the things that I teach is is kind of a demagnetizing method of teaching a horse to demagnetize or separate himself from other horses by making them work together. It's actually a method that I learned from Clinton Anderson, and it's a way of riding the horses together and then taking your horse that, like Deb, your horse would be the challenged horse. Everybody else is walking out on the trail. You got to be in a space where your horse can move around those other horses, and then go to the front and start moving around the front horse. Go to the second horse, start moving around that horse. And I'm talking moving by trotting and even sometimes loping around the horse as they're moving down the trail. And then, so you're doing a lot of work around the horses. And then what you want to do is give your horse a break by releasing him from the horses, the horse group, and allowing him to hang out in the back. If he starts to panic and wants to move forward, scoot forward, and get in the next horse's space, you can just do it with the last horse in line. You can just work by moving your horse's feet around that horse multiple times. Change directions to the inside, move around the horse. Change directions to the inside, move around the horse. And keep doing it. Obviously, you have to have people who are willing to work on this, that understand that this is a very effective way to teach your horse to not be in a hurry and trying to bunch up with the other horses. And that is, when he's close to the other horses, he has to work. When you allow him to hang back from the other horses, he gets to rest. Now, some horses that are high energy and high anxiety horses, this can take hundreds of hours of work. If a horse like yours, Deb, that I know personally, that horse, I don't think he's going to take very long to figure out that if he just hangs back a little bit, he doesn't have to work very hard. So that, as a general rule, your horse needs to move his feet, make him work where he wants to be, and let him rest where you want him to be. And that can include while you're translating, while you're moving down a trail, you can do that. And obviously, if you're in a trail situation where you can't do that, you have to work on it in areas where you can move your horse's feet. I'd start in the arena if at all possible, and then move out onto the trail. But get together a group of people that are willing to work on their trail horses with you. And everybody who's a Reata horsemanship follower, they're going to start to have the best trail horses out there, guaranteed, because you're working on these things that really do work. And some horses are more challenged than others, and we have to just deal with that as they come. I say some horses take an hour to learn something, and some take 100 hours. It depends on the horse. So your horse, he should come along pretty quickly and should learn that if he just hangs back and doesn't rush, he doesn't have to work as hard. Try that.
Okay. So the next question we have is, how do I address undesirable behaviors effectively without causing stress to my horse?
How do I say that again?
How do I address undesirable behaviors effectively without causing stress to my horse?
Okay. So this is a question. It's a good question, and it comes with the premise of not wanting to cause stress to her horse. So she doesn't want to cause stress to her horse, so that's her biggest worry. How do I correct this stuff without causing stress to my horse? In all reality, a stress, it's kind of like humans. If we don't go through stressful situations, we don't learn how to handle emotionally and mentally handle stressful situations, which in turn turns into physical duress, right? So if we want to learn to be good under stressful situations, we have to put ourselves in stressful situations. We have to practice in those situations. So this question, I'm going to turn it a little bit and say, instead of trying to avoid putting your horse in stress, I want you to start working on building stressful situations for your horse. So and it depends on the behavior. This is a very open-ended question there's literally probably an infinite number of behaviors that could go on that you want to try to correct without causing stress. So don't worry so much about not causing stress. Worry about correcting the behavior. And most often, the best way to correct the behavior, well, let's talk about a buddy sour horse, or even the horse that Deb was talking about earlier, and that horse is crowding other horses. That's kind of a buddy sour issue where he wants to be close to the other horses. He wants to crowd the other horses, or he wants to get in front. There's a combination of issues going on, but if a horse is buddy sour or barn sour, I'm gonna ask that horse to move his feet in the location or near the location where he wants to be. And that's going to cause him a little bit of stress, but I'm not going to force him to necessarily be there. There's a couple different ways you could do it, but let's just talk about the method of not forcing him to be there, but just making it hard for him to be there. So if he goes there, then just redirect his feet and move his feet around. Do circles, and it can be something as simple as just trotting. You might end up getting into a lope, and changing directions, doing rollbacks along the fence, whatever it is, making his feet work, making it hard for him to be there. And then when he decides to leave, you just let him leave and take your pressure off. So don't force him to be there. Just make it hard when he is there. And when he starts to leave that location, take your pressure away, and then he'll start to he'll start to hunt an area away from that location, because he finds that he gets relief of pressure out there. And so pressure is an absolute necessity in horse training. In my opinion, the most effective horse trainers and horsemen and horsewomen out there are ones that are very good at pressure and release of pressure. And you can't get, the horses learn from the release of pressure, but you can't get release unless you have pressure in the first place. So you got to build some pressure with your horse. And you can do that in stages. You can teach a horse, like if a horse doesn't lunge well, if he doesn't know how to lunge at a lope, for example, and he's pulling against the rope, well, I might start in a smaller round pen that's maybe 40 feet wide, and I have a 14 or 15 foot long lead rope, and I ask him to lunge. I just ask him to speed up a little bit. And if he speeds up a little bit, I take my pressure away and just allow that to feel good to him. And eventually, when I ask him to speed up, he'll pick up a lope. And so initially that was a problem. He didn't know how to lope, or he was doing it by pulling hard against me. Now I raise the stakes by increasing the size of my round pen to a 50 foot or 60 foot round pen. I get out into an arena and start doing it that way. But you're always going to be creating situations that are a little bit stressful for your horse. And what you're doing is that stress, that commotion, that stress, that energy that you're creating is a way to teach your horse to find where it's most easy, where there's less stress. So if you can give him an out, if you can put pressure on your horse and let him find the way to less pressure, he's going to start to learn how to handle that pressure, and he's going to start to hunt those areas he's going to start to hunt what you're actually asking him to do, and those problems will start to go away. I know that sounds a little bit complicated, but bottom line is be okay with putting stress on your horse, but be fair about it. And that is increasing your cues one at a time. Start with one cue, start with your light cue, then build your cues, build your pressure until he starts to try to find the answer. When he starts trying to find the answer, you hold your pressure right there until he starts to actually get the answer. And when he gets the answer, for example, if he starts to pick up speed, that's the answer you're looking for, you release your pressure immediately.
Okay. So the next question comes from me.
Okay.
It's because of all of our clients that I talk to over the phone when they're booking for training with you, Luke. And we get a lot of people that buy horses and they feel like the horse was either drugged or so they were lied to about the horse's behavior or how long they own the horse. So my question is, how do I know a horse is a good fit for me and safe for me to purchase?
That's a tough question. So how do I know a horse is safe for me and good for me to purchase, a good fit for me? You have to, it takes a lot of time to understand where you're at in your horsemanship, and then to understand where a horse's level is. A horse can be I remember this just came to my mind a few years back. I was at a Chris Cox clinic up in Camp Verde. I was up in Camp Verde at a Chris Cox clinic, and there was a lady there that had a quarter horse, and this was a really well-trained, really well-bred quarter horse, and this lady was having all kinds of issues getting him under control during the clinic, and he was really a lot of horse for her. She wasn't near as good of a horsewoman as his level was, so he was trained really well. But he needed a rider that was also very skilled. And it was very easy to see after all the trouble she was having, he took that horse, and in like 5 minutes he got on this horse and started getting him to look like a pretty as a picture, started loping him around, started making him look like just the most incredible horse you've ever seen loping under saddle, this beautiful bay gelding. And then so he worked with this horse maybe 15, 20 minutes when it came down to it, then gave him back to her. The owner got back on, and the horse was pretty much what he looked like before when she was having all the trouble. So the best way you can make a horse right for you is to become right for the horse. That's my best advice is do everything you can to learn as much horsemanship as possible. Stick as much as possible. Stick to one person that's good. Like if you're following me, I would recommend continue following me and don't get confused by everybody else. Just focus on me, and as I learn and progress, I'll keep teaching a little bit differently, and I'll keep improving too. And you're always welcome, of course, to go and watch other people. But the more people you watch, probably the more confused you're going to get. And especially if you go into groups and start asking questions, and a lot of people want to give their 2 cents and feel important in the horse world, you're going to get very, very confused about that. So just focus on learning a method, focus on applying that method, focus on learning the theory behind the method and whether that works or not for you. And then when it comes to actually purchasing a horse, the better you get, obviously the easier it'll be to find a horse that's right for you. If you're really unskilled and unknowledgeable, is that a good word? Not knowledgeable about it, then you need somebody to help you. We don't necessarily go out and help people buy horses. I know a few, I've met a couple trainers that do that. They'll go with the person and they'll help them pick out the horse and they'll ride the horse. So when you go to find a horse, don't buy the horse unless that horse is being ridden by the owner. You want them to be fresh. You want them to saddle them fresh. You want to see how they saddle. Fresh meaning they shouldn't be sopping wet. If they're saddled already and soaking wet and sweaty and stuff, then they've been worked quite a bit. And they might look really good in the moment, but that horse freshens up, gets a few weeks off, and is fat and sassy. And next thing you know, you put a saddle on and they're trying to buck you off. So it's really challenging. Hopefully, it would be nice if everybody were just 100% honest. If you think of it from the perspective of the seller, I've taken on problem horses before, and if I told every single problem this horse ever had, I'd never sell the horse. And that's why we don't sell horses, because I can't keep my mouth shut. Stacy won't let me sell horses because we're not very good at selling them because it's the problem horses. Now we want to get into our own breeding program and raising our own horses and selling our own horses, so I can 100% stand behind those horses and say, this is what I know this horse from the beginning. He was from the time he was dropped on the ground to the time you're sitting in the saddle. And so those are going to be a lot more sure bets. But horses that have issues, and a lot of horses that have been passed around from rider to rider, from owner to owner, a lot of times they have issues. So if you think that you've been lied to, sometimes there's information that's being withheld, and sometimes it's just a matter of maybe the trainer or the owner, they were riding that horse every day and doing a lot of work with them, and maybe they were good riders and good horsemen, and then you come in and you let that horse sit for 2 months, and then you saddle them up and wonder why they're trying to bite you or wondering why they're bucking, and you think this person, they weren't honest with you. But in reality, you've got to try as best as you can, try to figure out what that horse needs in order to stay at the level they're at. And that starts with you, and it starts with the knowledge of
and something past. I'd like to add in there is don't be in a rush. If someone's in a huge rush to sell you a horse, for whatever reason it is, don't let the fear of someone else buying the horse or them giving you ultimatums, ask if you can have the horse for the weekend, or ask to come ride 2 or 3 days in a row or 2 weekends in a row. If it's meant to be, it's going to happen. So don't make an emotional decision. Be really logical. Ask for all the information that they have on the horse. Take notes so that you know what they said is the same thing they're going to say in a week from now. Just really good communication on your end, and do all your homework. The biggest thing I hear is about people just making an emotional decision versus a logical one, thinking they would be able to work out the kinks and then being heartbroken when they can't work it out.
That's the biggest issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody wanting a calm trail horse and they get an off the track thoroughbred that's got some issues, and the reason they did it is because out of it is an emotional buy. So don't get emotional. That's probably number one, right?
Yeah.
Don't get emotional with your purchase and don't get in a hurry. That'll save you more times than not if you, and then have somebody knowledgeable to help you out with it. And so, don't buy a horse without being ridden. And that idea of going out multiple times to ride, that's a great idea to really get a handle on what the horse is like, and make sure you do it when they're fresh, they haven't been ridden. Ask for, if you've seen the horse being ridden, then ask if the next time you can saddle them and ride them first, or what have you.
In the arena, off the property, on the trail.
Yeah, if you want a good trail horse, we've done that before. We've ridden out, ridden in the arena, and then we ride out on the trail. And I try to talk about any issues that the horse has had, any spookiness or whatever. But you want to experience, if you're going to ride out on the trail, have the owner ride the horse out on the trail while you ride a horse of your own, or a horse that you trust from a trainer or what have you. But just be as careful and as cautious as possible. And I think a lot of purchase mistakes are going to be avoided if people will take those precautions. Be careful. Don't buy out of emotion, and that's hard because you get this beautiful bay off the track thoroughbred that is just the most gorgeous horse you've ever seen in the world, and you automatically that horse is meant for you because you have this connection. Well, be very careful about that connection, because you may feel that connection, but the horse might be a flighty bolter, and you could get yourself in trouble. So, yeah.
Well, that's all the questions that we have for today.
Okay. Well, let's see. GV can. So Gabe asked a question.
Let me go.
It's good to lease a horse for 30 days with insurance and a contract.
Oh,
that's a great comment that Gabe made. Lease a horse for 30 days with insurance and a contract. I'm not too familiar with having insurance on a horse for 30 days. And I'm not sure, Gabe, if you're talking about the seller needs insurance or the purchaser or the leaser needs insurance. I'm not sure how that would work. Do you?
No, but you can look into it.
Yeah, but that's a great idea. Lease a horse for 30 days. If you're pretty sure that this is a horse for you. Now, there's going to be a lot of buyers out there that aren't going to be able to handle that kind of time. But if you're unsure of yourself and you need some time, take the time. If they're not willing to give it to you.
He said the seller needs it for the insurance.
The seller needs it. Okay. Yeah, because the seller is going to have to have insurance so in case the horse gets hurt or something. Yeah.
But, even a week, if you dedicate going out and riding that horse 3 or 4 times during the week on your own, you're going to come across any major issues or major red flags. So the biggest thing is ask all the questions, have the other owner, whoever's the owner, ride the horse, see what it's like before you ever get on that horse. Bring help if you need it, but just take your time with it. Yeah, take your time, and be careful about buying horses. It's challenging, and nowadays buying online, if you buy sight unseen, which I'm recommending not to do. A lot of times it's scammers out there. Oh, I need $500 deposit to hold this horse. You give them $500 and you don't hear from them again. And they do that to many people. So don't be caught by the scammers. Make sure. There's even some scammers that have videos, but I suggested to a couple of people, ask for live videos. So ask for them to go out and live show you the horse. FaceTime and whatever app you have to go live. Yeah, that can help. And then having a vet or a trainer out there that can vet that horse and make sure that you're all on the same board. Yep. All right. Thanks for the questions. Yeah, thanks for the question, guys. Those are some good questions. And thanks for watching an hour later tonight. It was a fun session. Remember, I'm putting these Q&A Wednesdays on our podcast on Spotify and Apple. Just go to reatahorsemanship.com, scroll to the bottom, and you can click on those podcasts and join those podcasts so that you can get updated when I upload new podcasts. You can also go to YouTube
and go to Reata Horsemanship at YouTube on YouTube, and you can see the podcast there. So you can actually see the video there, or you can do a lot of scrolling here in the Reata Horsemanship family to find it. But there are a lot of ways you can find this Q&A Wednesday, and we're probably going to be adding some interviews with some professionals, some farriers. We have some things in the mix where it's going to be very helpful information from vets, farriers, and other horse professionals, and probably some other trainers too. And some people that are going to be entertaining and helpful. But this Q&A session is going to keep going on Wednesdays for the foreseeable years in the future. So thanks everybody for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great weekend, or a great rest of the week. Until next time, be thankful, live with purpose, live with passion, and as always, stay safe in the saddle.